Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We do have a showcase today here on Level In. We're talking Matchbox action. Got a bunch of vintage Matchbox to go through. We had a couple 5-packs and then a bunch of singles. As you guys know, this has been my goal for 2024 is to continually pursue these licensed themed 5-packs that I never really chased. Because I mean, look at the decals; they're absolutely ridiculous. But I've been scooping them up, been getting them for some relatively good prices because, you know, they're kind of damaged. Definitely look for the ones that are messed up. This one, Nickelodeon, just a general Nickelodeon, not specific. So we'll get the little tray out. There we go. The giant card. Nothing fancy. Here's the deets. Comes in this little plastic tray. This is the Sport SUV. This is the generic Sport SUV. And Adventure with Friends. And then, of course, it says it in Spanish. Does have blue window. Just blue regular base. It's a Hero City car. So it's pretty junky. But it's just called the Sport SUV. Nothing particularly fancy with that guy. We'll just put him right there in the good old bottom. Try to get him centered. My OCD a little bit. All right, next one up, the Volkswagen Beetle 4x4. This one is relatively toned down in its deco. Just has Dora and the monkey. Whoever the monkey is, I have no idea what his name is. This one has a red window, which is very interesting. It's a very bright yellow. It's not quite neon. They look a little bit neon on the screen, but it's just super bright yellow. This is the older version of this casting with the separate piece for the engine detail here, and then of course the detailed base, the more detailed base. The version of this casting they use now is relatively toned down by comparison purposes. So okay, it fits in there just fine, which is pretty nice. I do like that. Next one up here, this is for Blue's Clues. This is the Ford Expedition. This one does not have any suspension. It is fixed, so unfortunate there. But it does have blue and, of course, the cat. I guess there's a cat on there. The interior is a regular color, just gray, dark gray for the base. And then, it's purple. It says Blue University, 2007 Viacom. Of course, they got to put the copyright on there, which is a little ridiculous. And then there is the base deets right there. It does say Ford Expedition on there. Made in Thailand with the good old saw blade wheels. Certainly not a fan of those wheels at all, for sure. All right, next one up. This is the 21 window bus. Maybe not quite 21 windows, but pretty much the Volkswagen bus. It says Fall in the Fall for the backyardigans. This one also doesn't have suspension. It uses the 3-spoke, which is fixed. There is the deets on the other side. It's in a kind of a tan color, which looks kind of good. It does have a gray interior, which isn't too bad, and then it has a white base on there. The white base is pretty average. There's no decos on the front and no decos on the back, unfortunately. But that one's not too bad. Barely fits in there. At least it's not like ridiculous deco on there. All right, the last one in that mix probably will not fit in the little cubby we have up there for it. The Desert Thunder V16. This one with the reinforced grille. There was variations on this model. Not saying this particular release had a variation, but there were some grille variations on the casting over its life. It says Go Diego Go on there. It has the crown wheels on it, just in solid black. They're fine in black. You get some foil print on them. They don't look all that good. There is the deco on the other side. Again, very, very simple prints. Some detail on this casting. This is one casting I really, really wish they'd bring back. I really wish they'd bring this casting back. It's such a good casting. I think it looks so good. So that guy definitely doesn't fit. So what we'll do is we'll take our Sport SUV. We'll put our Sport SUV up there in the top. And then we'll just stick him right there at the bottom. Center it up just a little bit. There we go. Looney Tunes. This one looks pretty good. I do like this one. It is a pretty fancy one. This one is relatively average. Nothing particularly fancy with the models that are in there. But they look okay. So we'll go ahead and crack this open. It's always like this little tape on the upper corners right here that just doesn't let you want to just rip it open like you want to. There we go. Throw that out of there. No tape holding this particular one shut. The model sit in there pretty firmly. This is your Camaro SS convertible. It says back in action on there, the Carrot Show with Bugs Bunny on there. It's all right. It has a green interior, yellow body, and then a orange base. Base is actually the right direction. So a very interesting color combination. No prints on the front. This is a pretty good casting. They didn't use this casting all that much, unfortunately, but it is a pretty good casting. So we'll throw that one up there at the top. Ooh-wee. Man, these things are super tight in there. This is the 70 El Camino. This is not the newest version of this casting. This casting's been retooled since this version. But this one looks okay. It does use the lace wheels on there. It is Daffy Duck. Says back in action on there. So got his little Western garb going on there. It's all right. No prints on the back either. Base is a little bit tweaked. Look at that. It's a little bit. There we go. Snap, crackle, pop. No big deal. There is your base deets. Nothing particularly fancy. Just El Camino. Of course, these are made in China. This particular one. The other one I think were made in Thailand, but these are made in China. So, these are in there super tight. The Jeep Liberty, this is another casting that was not used all that much. That was a very, very good casting. Mainly because it has opening doors. So it does have an opening feature. There's some pretty good detail on the inside of the door panels. You know, I think they could have just, retooled this to not have opening doors. But this also has a separate piece for the spare tire. So it did debut using the flower wheel. So that's why the flower wheel is the spare tire. But that is a separate added-on piece, which is unfortunate. And then this has a ridiculously detailed base. This was debuted in like 2001. So this is when Matchbox was actually still trying to produce some good stuff. This is, Mattel was working on destroying them, but they were still pumping out some good stuff. This happened to be one good casting still coming out at that time. It did get some pretty good garbs too when it was released in the Superfast line. That one was especially nice. Oop. Sorry about that. Bumped the camera like a rookie. All right, next one up in here. This is, again, the Sport SUV. So another version of the Sport SUV. This one is for Marvin the Martian. There he is on the side with his little deco. And just has a little deco in the back. Looks pretty good. I think the color combination looks pretty good on this one. The red window does look good with the blue and, of course, the yellow base. I think that's a pretty fair trade-off. But a little bit of print on the front, too. Just a little tiny print for those two little lights in the front. So always like when I can get multiple models at once. It makes it a lot easier to catalog and put them away. And then the last one in here, this is for Looney Tunes. This is Paris, the skunk, the stunky skunk that's always in love with everybody. It's pretty cool. Of course, it's the Beetle. This one's pretty toned down as well. There is the flower wheel. It does have a purple base. The purple base is very, very interesting. But you really don't see much of it except for just out the back right there. Of course, this is the concept version of the Beetle. That is not, the production one. So it is a little bit different. All right, now we're going to get on to the much, 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 much better stuff. Much, much, much better stuff. This is the Peugeot 205. This is one of only just a few decos that they ever did for this particular casting. This is one that I did not have, so I'm really, really happy to have this one. It is unfortunate the paint is cracking a little bit. The model is fine, but the tampos are cracking. But it's fine. It's fine. It'll be all right. The base is a little bit off colored, but there is the deets on there. Peugeot 205 Turbo i5, and then of course it does have a big, huge opening hatch in there with some engine detail, and then a window attached to the top section there. Looks very, very good. Uses the off-road wheels as well. Very, very cool model. All right, Volkswagen Golf, the old version of the Volkswagen Golf. This one has an opening hood. There you go. Hood opens up, looks pretty good. This has what is called an abstract deco on there. I don't have this model. I don't know the history of this model, so I guarantee you, specifically those viewers across the pond because I do feel like this may be a UK release. But you guys will be able to chime in and let me know where exactly this one comes from. But this one looks pretty good. It does say UK on the base. That doesn't necessarily mean much. There's a lot of cars that say UK in the collection I bought, but they're not necessarily just UK. Thailand base on that one, but you guys can let me know exactly where you think that one came from. All right, the Opel Astra GTE. There is a few versions of this one. This one happens to be the amber window with the red. This also has opening doors, which looks pretty good. 8-dot universal style era. There is your base deets. Again, it says UK on there again. But the Vauxhall Astra GTE Macau base on this one. The embossment on the plate looks pretty good. I think I have a clear window of this one. I think I do not have the amber window, so I'll have to double check that. But I think that's the variation for that one, particularly what I need. Our next Opel Astra is this one. This one all decoed up again. Unfortunately, some cracking in the print, but you'll see it's not the model. It's just the print. So it's not a big deal. This one has the super amber window. It's like super amber window. This one is also the white hubs. So white painted hubs on this one. AC Delco. Again, opening doors, right-hand drive. There is the details in the back, GTE, and then there is your plate details. B162 UNK, it looks like. And then, again, there is the base deeds, UK 48. So the Astra was probably number 48. And then, again, this one, I think it's just the window tampo variation because I do have that particular printed up model as well. Last Opel Astra GTE. So there's two different versions of this particular deco. There's one with the number 7 printed on there, and there's one without the number 7 printed on there. So I have the one without the number 7 printed on there. So now I do have the one with the number 7 printed. Some of the other prints on here are a little bit different size, but the prints themselves are all the same. It's just a little bit size difference on there. So nothing particularly fancy with this one. Blue interior for this guy. The other two had black interior. A gloss painted base. Again, UK says 48 on there. I don't know what this guy's numbering process was or his categorizing process or whatever it was, but it is what it is. All right, Mercedes-Benz 300E says UK number 58 in Thailand. This is for the Polizzi Deco. This is the one with the Mercedes logo on the grille on the top right there. So there is versions without the logo. This guy also has opening doors, which is pretty nice. Not very much detail on the inside of the door panel, but there's a little bit. Tan interior on this one, 5075 is the unit number. That one looks pretty good. And then just a little silver print on the door. Just a version I didn't have, so happy to add one to the collection. I think I've only gotten like 2 decos for that particular casting, so it's nice to get a new one. All right, this one is an interesting ad because I already have the Jeep Cherokee. I have many Jeep Cherokees. It's one of the coolest castings they've ever done. This one is Thailand base, nothing particularly fancy on the base as you see. I do have this National Ski Patrol one, but my tampos are a significantly different size. So what I'm thinking of is that maybe there is a base variation. Maybe I have a different manufacturing location, maybe Macau or something like that for the Cherokee. So I picked that one up. I guess I'll double check when I go to put it away in the catalog and see if that truly is different or not, or if it's just the same. Who knows? All right, the Icarus Coach. I do have a few of these. This is a casting I didn't have very many of at all. I do believe these are all European releases. These are not US releases, so this one says Icarus on the side. In tan with some brown striping. Looks pretty good. This is a all-metal casting with the exception of the base, but there is a metal body, metal top. Then the window, and then the plastic base. See, this one says UK number 67. It is a licensed vehicle, but it's relatively small in the world of Matchbox. You can see that bus next to a Cherokee because, well, you have to fit it in the blister, you know what I'm saying? All right, next one I have here, this is for the City Line Tourist. Again, I believe this is a Euro-only release. This was not a US release. Could be wrong on that, but I'm fairly certain that is the case. This one has a nice dark tinted window on the inside. It's a City Line on there, Tourist. And then there is the base Dietz, made in China. It's nothing particularly fancy with that one. You see how dark the window is by comparison. All right, next one up here for Gibraltar. There is a little bit of a sun, and then there's a bird flying around. It has a red painted top, orange and black on the bottom. The flip side on the other side just has the same deco, just in a different direction. And then there is your base Dietz. This one happens to be Macau 1/140th scale, so it's enormous. So put that guy right on the edge. And then I have this one, which is essentially the same one, but this is for Voyager. But this one is in orange and blue. That is dark blue print on the bottom. And then, of course, the orange painted top and a clear window. There is the reverse image on this side. And then, again, Macau base on there. So you see a little bit of rust on those rivet holes down in there. So this collection must have been stored where some moisture was, which is not good. Would explain maybe why some of these tampos were cracking. The Rhino rod, one of the worst things to come out of the Tyco era. However, this particular one is relatively hard to get. So there are several versions of this guy. He includes silver spiral wheels, gold spiral wheels. He's got several different colors, or two different colored eye prints. But this particular one in black, at least in my opinion, is the hardest one to find. This one is the China base. So there is your China base. That's what kind of sets it different, is pretty much the eye print right there. But the model itself is extremely ugly. Just a really, really, really ugly model. No doubt about that. All right, I got a few more to go through right here. Not a huge amount left, but we do have some. One model I have been looking for a very long time, the BMW 5 Series. This one happens to be the racing version with a ridiculous amber window. Probably the most ridiculous amber window I've ever seen in my life. That thing is ultra, ultra, ultra orangish yellow. I do believe this one also comes with a clear window. But really, really, really stoked to get this one. Really, really happy. Been looking for this one forever. I know a number of fellow collectors who have been looking for this one as well. Unfortunately, there was only one. So I do have to add it to my collection. This is something I've been looking for a very, very long time. There is your base Dietz 1989 for that 5 Series. I'll scoop him over there. The Renault Turbo. So there is a couple versions of this. There are interior color variations, and then there's wheel variations. This happens to be the 8-dot wheel variation. So it's England base as well. So it does have some suspension. It utilizes basically like this style of wheel for the most part. So that is the other wheel that comes with the Renault 5 Turbo. Or actually the Renault 11. Sorry about that. It's not a T5. Just a Renault 11. This one was also used for James Bond. Used as a taxi, which was pretty good. And then there is some embossment for the plates. Wish they'd still do that kind of stuff, but they don't do anything like that anymore. Another model that I've been really, really, really trying to get my hands on is this gray Volvo 760. This one happens to be with the amber window. I do believe this also comes with a clear window. This guy also has opening doors, which is very, very cool. Metal base on this one. This guy is a hunker for sure. Macau there on the base. Really, really stoked. There's no prints on this guy, but it does have some nice embossment on the back. It says Volvo. You have a plate on there. Good details on the front. Another plate detail in the front. Looks good. Which is actually the base. So there's actually hooks in the front, which is very cool. So really, really happy to add that one. Okay, it's not going to really fit on the screen, but there you go. Another one here that I could have swore I had, but I don't. So this is from the original run of World Class. There is your World Class logo there at the bottom. This one is the 57 Chevy. I did not realize that I didn't have this one. It does have an opening hood. Of course, this one doesn't really want to open. I don't want to force the issue, but it does open up. Prints on the front. These were meant to be ultra premium. They do come with chrome windows. That is intentional. Prints all the way around, rubber tires as well. This one sits a little bit weird. The rear axle doesn't quite sit correctly on this particular version, but it's fine. It's fine. It looks good sitting there. It does its job. So it is what it is. It's not bad. It's not bad. it's definitely a different era of premium from what we see nowadays for sure. And then let's see here. I have a couple of these Turbo 2s. So these are, I think these are wind-up cars. They're like friction wind-up, so they start off slow and then they take off. Porsche 935 here, nothing particularly fancy. There is the base deets, Macau base on that one. Set that to the side. And then I have a couple of the Ford Transit vans. This one in red, which looks pretty good. I don't have any of these Turbo 2s. These are my first ones, so pretty stoked about that. That means I'll have to somehow chase down and maybe collect these. Some of these go for a little bit of money. I don't think that they're necessarily like stupid rare per se, but they're just not common enough that they do command a little bit of coin. And then this one right here is the exact same tempo, just different colors all the way around. Still says Turbo 2 on it. I do like the fact the base says Turbo 2 as well. You know, back in the 80s when, you know, Matchbox and other diecast companies actually tried to come out with new things here and there. I set this particular Stingray 3 to the side. This is a ridiculously ugly casting. Really not good time in Matchbox's history. But I did set this one to the side because I do believe this one is a significantly different purple than the one that's currently in my collection. So I'll have to take a look at that. But it looks okay. It's just a terrible casting. The only reason I held on to it is because potentially there could be a shade variation. And then the last one I have in here is just a regular Ford Transit Super Van. Just a regular mainline one. It says Starfire on the side, which is pretty cool. So not a common version of this one at all. This guy does have a metal base as well. There is your metal base. Macau, UK number 72. This was probably a UK release. Who knows? But I'm sure somebody can chime in and let me know. So I know a lot about modern Matchbox. Not too much about back in the day. So definitely drop a comment. Let me know. So there you go. That is the latest haul of Matchbox. Vintage Matchbox. Yes, it's vintage. These things are like 15, 16 years old. Those packs are. So yes, it's vintage. These are like ridiculous. Some of these are like 40 years old. But anyways, happy to have those in the collection. Happy to bring those to you guys. Hope you enjoyed that showcase. Drop a comment. Let me know. Give me some information on the stuff that I'm not quite on par with. And that's why I appreciate everyone you guys who watch. So we're going to catch you next time here. Level M. Peace.